Hey everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Always ready to explore.
Awesome. Well, today we're tackling something that popped up in a document a listener sent our way, RE options.
Oh yeah, RE options. It's a pretty broad term when you think about it.
That's exactly what caught my attention. The document uses it in two interesting ways.
How so?
On one hand, it talks about RE options as these legal agreements, like contracts related to buying property.
I see. The more traditional real estate option agreement.
Exactly. But then it also uses RE options to refer to a whole bunch of different ways to invest in real estate.
Ah, so we're covering the contractual side and the investment landscape. Sounds like a fun challenge.
Absolutely. And I think there's a lot to unpack here for our listeners, especially when it comes to understanding how these options work and what makes them unique.
Definitely. There are some real hidden gems when it comes to RE options.
All right, so let's start with the contractual side of things first. The document defines a real estate option as giving a potential buyer the right, but not the obligation, to buy a property.
Right. So it's kind of like you get to call dibs on a property. You're not locked in, but you have that option to buy it if you want to.
I like that, calling dibs. So you're essentially securing that opportunity, but without having to fully commit just yet.
Exactly. And this is where the whole option part comes in. It gives you that flexibility, that freedom to decide later on if you actually want to go through with the purchase.
Makes sense. The document also mentioned a premium that's involved with real estate options. What exactly is that all about?
So the premium is basically a fee that the potential buyer pays to the seller for the right to have that option.
Ah, so you're essentially paying for the right to have that dibs, that exclusive opportunity.
Precisely. It's like a down payment on the option itself, if you will.
Okay, that makes sense. Now help me understand this. In what kind of situations would using a real estate option actually be a smart move?
Well, let's say you find a property that you're really interested in, but you need a little bit more time to get your financing in order.
Ah, that's a common scenario for sure.
It is. So in that case, a real estate option could buy you that extra time without the risk of losing the property to another buyer.
So it's like a safety net in a way.
Exactly. Or another situation could be if the real estate market is a bit volatile. Maybe interest rates are fluctuating, or there are some big changes happening in the area that could affect property values.
Like major development projects or zoning changes.
Yeah, things like that. An option gives you that breathing room to kind of wait and see how things shake out before fully committing.
Smart. So it's all about mitigating risk and giving buyers more control in uncertain situations.
You got it.
Pretty clever stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's shift gears and talk about the investment side of RE options. The document lists quite a variety of them.
It sure does. It's really exciting to see all the different ways you can get involved in real estate these days.
It is. Let's start with what we all know, good old direct ownership of a property.
Right, the most traditional route. You buy a property, could be anything from a single-family home to a massive apartment complex, and you're responsible for everything. The financing, the maintenance, the tenant management, all of it.
The classic landlord experience. Now, the document also mentions REITs, which is a term I've heard but don't fully grasp.
REITs, real estate investment trusts, are basically companies that own, operate, or finance income-producing real estate.
So, like, they buy up properties and then rent them out or manage them.
Exactly. And the cool thing about REITs is that they offer liquidity. You can buy and sell shares of a REIT on the stock market, so it's much easier to get in and out of an investment compared to actually buying and selling physical property.
Ah, so it's a more flexible way to invest in real estate.
Definitely. It's a popular option for investors who want exposure to real estate without the hassles of direct ownership.
Okay, now for some of the newer kids on the block, crowdfunding and syndications. Those sound particularly intriguing, especially for folks who might not have a ton of capital to invest.
Oh, absolutely. Crowdfunding is really democratizing real estate investing. It allows individuals to pool their money together and invest in larger projects that they wouldn't be able to afford on their own.
So instead of needing millions to buy an apartment building, you can chip in a smaller amount and own a tiny slice of it.
Exactly. It's like fractional ownership, making real estate investing accessible to a wider range of people.
Pretty cool. And what about syndications?
Syndications are similar in that they involve pooling funds from multiple investors, but they're typically a bit more structured. It usually involves a group of investors coming together under the leadership of an experienced sponsor who handles the acquisition, management, and eventual sale of a property.
So it's kind of like teaming up with a seasoned pro to tackle a larger real estate project.
Exactly. It allows investors to leverage the expertise of someone who knows the ropes and has a proven track record.
Now, are there any downsides to these approaches?
Well, with crowdfunding, there can be a lack of liquidity. It's not as easy to cash out your investment as it would be with a REIT or even direct ownership. And with syndications, you're relying heavily on the sponsor's expertise and decision making, so due diligence is crucial.
Right. It's important to trust the people you're investing with. The document also lists mutual funds and ETFs focused on real estate, right?
Yes, those are great for diversification. You're essentially investing in a basket of real estate-related assets, which can help spread out your risk.
So if one property or sector underperforms, it doesn't tank your entire investment.
Precisely.
Makes sense. Wow, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have. From traditional ownership to these newer, more innovative approaches, there's a whole spectrum of options for anyone interested in real estate investing.
It's amazing to see how the landscape is evolving. Okay, as we wrap up this deep dive into our options, it seems like the main takeaway is this. Whether we're talking about options as contracts or options as investments, it's all about, well, having options.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's about understanding the tools and strategies available and then choosing the path that best aligns with your individual circumstances and goals.
Absolutely. So as a final thought for our listeners, I'd love for you to consider this. Of all the RE options we've discussed today, which one sparks your curiosity the most? Which one makes you think, I want to explore that further?
That's a great question. What piques your interest and why? What resonates with your current situation or your future aspirations?
Take some time to reflect on that. This is your journey, and knowledge is power. So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those options open.
Until next time.
See you then.